perspective from Doublelift.
Thank you so much, guys. And he's joined by Doublelift here. Doublelift, very tense game, very strong late game for you guys. Where did it turn around, you think, for you?
Well, Splyce didn't seem to really know how to close the game with their lead. I think mostly, I mean, it's just true. They should have won. But like their Malzahar was extremely fed, but he was split pushing in the side lane instead of grouping up and forcing fights on mid. I feel like at any point he could have just flash ulted Cassio mid. So I think like just by stalling out the game, I got caught too many times as well. But just in general, us stalling out the game, their team comp doesn't scale very well because Ezreal gets outscaled by Jhin, and I'm pretty confident in my late game team fighting with Jhin. Also, I feel like Skarner is just like really good against uncoordinated teams. We just got a lot of picks with Skarner as well. That was not a good game. That was not a good game.
Well, it's important for you guys looking forward to see what went wrong there exactly, and I like to hear that you're kind of owning up to it because you have some very big matches coming up. Of course, that RNG rematch next week comes to mind. What is the biggest thing you have to clean up, you think, going into those important games?
Well, this game actually, I'm not sure if anyone knows, but Soren's extremely sick. He can't talk, so I kind of lost my other shot caller. We lost our other shot caller on the team, so it's really hard for us to like lose a voice, especially one as vocal as Soren. And I hope he recovers and I'm able to focus more on my own individual play. I know I got caught a lot. That was really embarrassing, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Vincent, he also like dying early in lane is a really it's a big mental hit. And so like just trying to get the team back to being coordinated without another shot caller on the team is really, really difficult. I think in the next week, we'll just play more clean early game, and hopefully Soren will have his voice back, so I'll be able to play a lot better. And our team will be able to play a lot better.
All right, well, thank you very much, Doublelift. To that, it is very important for you guys to get a good performance here. We heard you say in the very opening video, I don't know how much I have left in the tank, which was a very kind of worrying thing to hear. So is that pressure maybe getting to you as well, knowing that this is your shot?
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest opportunity I've ever had to win Worlds, and I'm not going to blow it. So I hope you guys cheer us on.
All right, there we go. Doublelift owning up to the mistakes TSM made here, but they still pull out the win, so nothing is lost. Analyst, take it away.
Thank you very much, Shocks. TSM scraping by in a victory there. You heard it from the man himself, Doublelift on stage. Not a good game. So they're recognizing immediately off the bat that this is not the level of play that they even expect from themselves coming into this tournament. And that's kind of where I want to start. Expectation versus reality for these teams. We talked about Splyce being this young team. We expect them to get outlaned, but if they can get to those late game team fights, maybe they swing something. On the flip side, much higher expectations for TSM, and they just didn't come to fruition in those early portions of the game.
And while we don't know to what extent Soren's illness is affecting his ability to shot call during the game, the fact that Splyce targets the early game junglers, Lee Sin, Elise, takes away the Rek'Sai, and TSM is just unable to actually make anything happen in the early and mid game is really a worrying thing because we're so used to them playing fast games and just being able to pull the trigger over and over, and if the only guy that you're relying on is just Svenskeren on Flash, the game slowed down so much, and it gets to these points where only the late game fights matter, and anybody can win at that match.
So a couple of points. I actually saw Bjergsen in the hotel last night, and he definitely could not speak at all. You know, was croaking out words, so that part is definitely no bluff. But coming back to the draft like you touched on, this is the first time we've actually seen TSM on red side. They've been on blue side the other two games, and I basically called for Splyce to learn from Samsung. I really like how they targeted. So the first two bans, Lee Sin and Elise, the strongest playmaking junglers. We know all about Svenskeren's Lee Sin. The final ban is Vlad. You might think, why? Syndra hadn't been banned at that point, and Vlad is kind of seen as the only pick that can really stand up to Syndra with Aurelion Sol disabled. Remember, Aurelion Sol hopefully back tomorrow. So in that situation, you have to ban Syndra. First pick Rek'Sai, and those playmaking junglers are gone. Skarner, sure, he can do certain things, but he's still farming to 6 like we saw from Peanut on Nocturne. So they stifled TSM early. And given that TSM have to play 2 games on the red side still next week and only a single game on the blue side, I'd like to see other teams follow this trend, keep banning the junglers, and hold down Svenskeren, who has been their star so far this tournament.
Yeah, I think the focus has to be on complementing Splyce on their plan coming in. Yes, TSM, may have some problems with, illness right now, but attacking the early game, denying TSM these early tools that they've been using to snowball the vision into the jungle control was a really good move. And TSM actually still got a lot of those early jungle moves going for those blue buffs that we were counting, but they weren't able to really maneuver like really strong lanes in coordination with the jungle to really make any sort of big moves early.
I was a little disappointed with how Splyce played the early game. I wanted to see more proactivity out of them and be able to really punish the Skarner. Obviously, Skarner not being able to make a lot of early game moves, waiting for that level 6. But I think that the big reason why they slowed down is because TSM had such better crab control as opposed to Splyce. Splyce got no crabs in the first 10 minutes while TSM had 4. And that means that it's both spawns of both crabs on both sides, which is a huge amount of pressure for the side lanes. And it just allows you to play that much safer and confident, especially when you have a Skarner on your side that can just easily move in and out of the river and just provide that extra pressure for the lanes. And I think that had Splyce gone for better control, utilizing their laners to get those opportunities, because they had it multiple times, they would have been able to find Rek'Sai behind multiple lanes and punish, particularly Soren or Bjergsen, who actually blew his flash unnecessarily in the bottom fight. He could have been punished so many more times, and we could have seen a good snowball from Splyce.
Now that experience for TSM ultimately, well, it was allowed them to pull themselves out of that hole, and that's going to bring us to our replay brought to you by Acer here in the mid lane. A 3-for-2 picked up for TSM plus the Baron.
Exactly. TSM, they transitioned into playing off the Fog of War, using that speed to get the pulls. Here it was actually a bit touch and go because they go for the Nami first again, but Bjergsen kites back, he survives, and then Doublelift as well, able to survive, and they are able to chase this down. So yeah,
I mean, that crit blowing down the creep and then the scouting, the Ash arrow shots on the I mean, that's a little painful, but regardless, they're still able to really play that fight out well because of how they are able to, that exhaust from Biofrost really coming in crucial.
I mean, there were hiccups for sure, but the exhaust from Biofrost, that was really on point. Stopped the cannon ripping through the team. And in general, it was outclassed in terms of macro, especially in the late game. TSM knew how to win when they got a bit of a sniff. Splyce had control, but just couldn't go from there.
Yeah, the main thing they did was create picks with their Karma speed on the Skarner and the Jhin long-range abilities to snare.
So it really was a team effort, but player of the game is going to go to Sven Skiren on that Skarner. Doublelift kind of pointed towards it against uncoordinated teams. That's the pick that allowed them to, you know, single people out and turn fights, create the pressure on the map. So ultimately going to him, but it wasn't a pretty game for any of the members really on TSM's side.
Definitely true. I mean, they hold themselves to a higher standard, and you could hear it in the interview.
All right, well, we've still got one more score to settle today, and we'll be back in just a few minutes as China's Royal Never Give Up and Korea's Samsung Galaxy take to the stage, so don't go anywhere.
Faker said that it's okay for Bjerg to call himself NA Faker.
Yeah, he deserves that name.
He owns the copyright for
I think
the NA Faker.
what you should say is it's okay for Faker to call himself Korean Bjergsen.
Now battle in the bot lane, a nice bubble. The ignite and the attempt at lane dominance might just work out. First blood for Mickey just in time. 1,500 health left on Baron. Bjergsen picks up Kami, but at least it secured Baron for Trashy. Fight continues.
I'm going to Casio.
Casio.
Just run, Mickey, run, just run. Okay, dead.
We can kill him.
Nice.
Alright, show me. As a super low. You got this. Alright, careful. I'm 1 HP. Nice.
TSM complete the comeback.